I'm out doing my solo overnight, my hammock stay. It's about 8:15 in the morning and it's still pretty dark out actually. I had to turn up the exposure just so you can see me. I found my river and I've hiked in for maybe half an hour already. It looks like a river that I can fish in. I'll take you down to it just so you can see over there. But I'm going to be hiking in a little bit more and I'm liking what I see. This is a really cool forest, but it looks like a lot of hemlock and some cedars and things like that. So I think this is going to be a really cool spot and a fun video. So there's the river down there. It's a pretty nice river and you can see how dark it actually is when I take the exposure off. Well, I've made it to my site. 2 mountain rivers combining into one, going down that way. The forest was really hard to hike through. I got pretty wet just walking through the wet stuff. It's actually not raining at this moment, but the forest is saturated. How I found this spot originally is I Google Earth this mountain area and I looked for some rivers that I could explore. And I found these 2 rivers on Google Earth coming together in the middle of the forest. So I decided to hike in. It's still the morning time. I got plenty of time to do things. So I'm gonna find a place that I can set up my hammock now. So I think I found a pretty good location to set up my camp. I got lots of dead standing wood around this area and it's really flat. I got 2 side streams that feed into the main river. It should rain, so I need to get the tarp up ASAP. When it's really wet like this, it's important not to get too cold and too damp. So since I got my tarp set up, I'm not going to do my hammock right away. I was getting a little bit chilled having the wet rain gear on. So I put on my warm, dry sweatshirt, took my rain gear off, and I'm just going to make some coffee by using my hobo stove here. Much needed coffee. I'm getting cold. I was up at 5:30 this morning and I left my house at 6:30. So when I arrived here, it was still quite dark. The sun was just coming up and it's 11 o'clock now. So it's about time to have a coffee. Oh, that's really good. When you're wet like that, it's good to get under the tarp and change out of it and then put all of your warm clothes on because you might feel hot from working, but you get a chill really quick. So I'm starting to get a chill and it's not because it's cold, but it's because I'm a little bit damp on the inside. I'm just going to relax under here and warm up, and then hammock's going to go up. I'm going to put all the bedding in and we're probably going to search for firewood pretty early. I don't think I'll have a problem getting firewood, but I'm going to get wet getting firewood. It's going to be impossible this trip not to stay dry completely. It feels dark in here. It's a lot more open by the river, but the noise of the river and the wood access and just the lay of the land, it just didn't seem right for the type of camping I'm doing, so that's why I'm here. It started to rain pretty bad, so I ended up throwing the drop sheet that I had on top of my tent fly because I don't think the tent fly can handle too much rain. That's why I brought it. But I set up my hammock tied to the tree up there with a few fancy knots. I got my sleeping bag and sleeping pad inside my hammock. The pitch of the roof should be steep enough for the water to run off. Okay, so it's about 1 o'clock right now. It's still raining pretty good. I want to get some firewood collected, and I'll probably take down a dead standing tree and, you know, hopefully crack it open and it might be dry on the inside. So it's dry in there, eh? Oh, this is fun. Well, I just finished up processing a bunch of firewood. Just taking a break in the hammock. This is so comfortable. I can't believe how comfortable this is. I'll probably start the fire in a couple hours towards dinner time. And when it gets dark, it should be dark probably around 6, I'm guessing, in this forest. So I have about 4 hours until it gets dark. So while I'm waiting for noodles, I'm going to baton through some of these pieces of wood to try to make some feather sticks. A little bit of a pith in there, but that should be okay. Get a good amount of smaller stuff processed up because I can't use twigs or anything of that nature. These feather sticks here, I'm going to pay more attention to them. So I'm going to remove the bark. So the fire will be a little bit easier to make. So I'm really just trying to increase the surface area of these pieces of wood. I'm not trying to make a perfect feather, but I'll keep them on the stick because it's just a little easier. Kind of like that. So I'll make a few of these, let them dry out a bit, save all the shavings, and then hopefully we'll have a fire by the end of it. Now, when most people are at home right now, watching Netflix, drinking beer, I'm out here in the middle of the woods trying to make a fire in the pouring rain, even though it kind of eased up on the rain a little bit. But in all honesty, this stuff is more rewarding. I'll take any chance I can get out here. So I decided to make a fire reflector. So I'm just going to saw up a few poles. I'm just going to make these into steaks. These are in pretty good. Now I just need to find some wood to go in the middle. There we go, another little bad little fire reflector here. I don't need to get fancy and cord it together or anything like that. I just wanted a little bit of something to reflect the fire and some light back towards my hammock, but I don't need the fire at nighttime, so there's not much point. I'm just kind of doing this so I can kind of control the fire in this general area. Well, now that it's not pouring rain and I have some time on my hands, I got 2 items that I want to craft. The first one, I'm going to make a little bit of a wooden spoon, and then I need to make a little bit of a cutting board. And I'll get a reasonably flat surface first with the axe, and then I move to the knife. So I probably only want it to be maybe that long. So take my saw. For the handle. Watch your fingers. Shape it a bit. There we go, my final product. Just a little bit of a spatula so when I'm frying, I can, stir fry, use it for stir frying and stuff like that. Now for the cutting board, I almost have a bit of a flat area there, so I'm gonna work on that part, flatten out the back. There you go. A reasonably flat surface so I can do some chopping on. Alright, it's time to make a fire. I have all my firewood laid out there, and I got my platform down here with some fat wood sitting on it. Yes, I do have a lighter, but I want to do it this way because this is the more fun way. Okay, I've got some of the fat wood on fire. Now I have all of the shavings that I've made, which will go on top. Next I'll put some of the feather sticks on. Kind of pencil size. This stuff is pretty wet. So now that the flames are starting to establish, I'll continue to try to build upon it. So because this wood is pretty wet, we got a bit of a smoky fire, but I managed to get the flame established, and we just got to let this burn down. Once we have coals, things get a little easier. I can stack my firewood around the fire to help dry out and take some of the moisture out of it. This fire is going to be pretty smoky because it was such a wet day today, but you might as well use the heat of your fire and place your other firewood around it, and it will burn better when you put it on. So it's not even 5 o'clock yet, and it's already starting to get dark on me. What I'm going to do with this thing is this is going to be my handle for my pan here. So I basically just take it and I saw an angular cut. I jam the lip into that cut that I made. And I have myself a handle for my frying pan, so I can fry things up on the fire, and this works pretty well. So I'm going to be making a really nice dinner today. I have an onion, a potato, 2 cloves of garlic, some green onion, broccoli, and I'm going to make a nice stir fry. I have some butter here, and we're cooking a steak. So first up, we got garlic. This is how I crush garlic to take the skin off. Peels off quite nicely. We're going to do a crushed clove, and then we're going to chop up this guy. Wow, this thing's sharper than my kitchen knives. Throw that into our frying pan. Some butter in there. And we'll get that on the fire. Next up, we'll get the onion going. This knife is so sharp, man. I should use this at home. Spill all the onion all over the ground. Next up, we'll get the potato diced up into chunks. And now we add broccoli into the mix. You may be wondering why I'm wearing duct tape on my fingers, because I nicked myself in my excitement of cutting my potatoes. Broccoli on top. So to have a little bit more of a control over the heat, I put my grill across there so I can put the frying pan, and I can bring it over there if I want it hotter or kind of to just simmer. Something that you have to play around with a little bit to get the good heat. And then I'll probably try to put my steak on there when the coals are a little lower. Can't forget to put the salt and the pepper on there, can we? So before it gets too dark, I thought I'd show you nature's refrigerator. I got a beer sitting in there in this stream. So the stir fry is going pretty well, but before it gets too dark and before my fire completely goes out, this is a really good time to throw the steak on. So I'm going to just throw it on the grill that right there. This is a pretty hearty meal. I'm excited. I think dinner is about ready. And I think it's time to give the steak a taste on my cutting board. Just hope I don't cut myself this time. Nice. Cooked pretty well, actually. Wow. That's so good to have right now. I know you won't be able to see much, but the stir fry is awesome. Buttery and garlic, onions. I needed this after today. Too wet in the beginning. If it was raining all day, kind of would have sucked when it came to dinner time, but it's nice to sit outside of the tarp. Well, cheers to all of you guys out there who are watching my videos. I really appreciate your support and all your comments and everything that you guys do for me too. So this one's for you guys. It's so dark I can't even see the cat properly. Alright, let's try this 10% beer. That's strong, but it tastes good, surprisingly. Not too bad. Okay, well, I'm all tucked in for bed. I heated up my 2 stainless steel water bottles by the fire, and they're in my sleeping bag with me. I got one by my foot and one by my body. I checked my thermometer, and it's probably 4 degrees right now. So I got all my layers on me, and I'm making sure that I'm pretty comfortable. I had a Cliff Bar before going to sleep, just to make sure I got some energy in me to burn if it gets a little bit cold. I can't wait to sleep. See you guys in the morning. Well, good morning everyone. I managed to get the fire going. I had to completely build a new fire. My fire was dead last night. I slept pretty well last night. I didn't get cold. I was actually pretty warm. And yeah, just making coffee on the go. I might try my hand at a little bit of fishing today if I have some time. After breaking down camp and stuff like that, I'm going to cook up some bacon. I was supposed to cook up eggs, but I broke them on the way in. This guy came to join me. Little squirrel. This is the first animal I've seen all trip. So I got bacon in the pan, and then I'm just mixing up some bannock. Just flour and water. I gotta add a little bit more water in there, but that's gonna be my breakfast. I'm gonna cook up my bacon and eat it, and then throw my bannock in the bacon greased pan. Bannock is in the pan. I got salt, pepper, and a little bit of sugar because I feel like putting some sugar on it. Now I'm just gonna try to slowly heat this one up. I don't want to burn the bottom too badly. Well, I'm all packed up. I'm ready to go. I just got to put the fire out here. Just got some coals and I will just throw some water on from the river. But this has been a pretty good trip. I learned a lot of stuff. This was my first hammock camp, so everything worked out pretty well. As far as the tools that you guys voted on for me to bring, I think it was dead on. I'm really glad that I had my big axe because it was really wet, and I think it would have been a little harder if I had used some of the other tools. And the saw was perfectly fine. And the Condor bush lore is just an awesome knife. There's not much to say about it. So all I'm going to be doing now is hiking back to the main rivers and try my hand at some fishing on them. Just using a spoon and weight and bobber. Check it out! I caught a rainbow. That's pretty cool, hey? I pulled it out in a pool over there after snagging a few trees. I'm just gonna catch and release this guy, but there's fish in this river. That is so awesome. I didn't bring my rod for nothing.